we'll just get going, mate. Matt Evans, welcome to the studio.
Awesome, I love this
Welcome
place.
to the pod. Full transparency. We're 24 hours, well, not even 24 hours. Yesterday we did the event. We're 2/4 of the 4 people who organised it. I'm fucked, mate. I don't know about you.
I had an overwhelming feeling of relief and elation. It's twofold. One was after the workshop that I delivered. So then I felt like I could breathe and enjoy it a bit more. And then obviously at the end of the day, once, we cleared down the room and everything, from there, it's like my body's gone, and breathe.
Yeah.
But
Then you said yes to coming on this.
yeah. But no, it was fun, man. I love it. That was such a fun day and surpassed any expectation I thought was possible for us to achieve. So thanks to anyone who came, man. That really means a lot.
Yeah, definitely. But back to this.
Yeah.
You are an Agile consultant, Kanban trainer, certified Scrum Master, and leading safe. That's what it says on your says on your LinkedIn. Your business agility. You own the Business Agility Coach Limited.
Yeah.
You offer agile coaching training to clients across various industries. You have 10 years of experience in change enablement and hold multiple certifications. Is that you?
Yes, but I probably need to update it. But yeah, definitely. I work as an agile coach. From that, I like to really focus on that actual business agility as opposed to trying to perfect the agile practices and adhere to every page of a framework. I don't see the value as much in that, and I think that's maybe a bit of a differentiator. I'm definitely not the only person who has that view, but it's the way I like to approach it anyway.
You started in recruitment, yeah?
Yeah. Started in recruitment. Did that for about 10 years. Really good. You know what I mean? It's such a powerful thing to be able to twofold. One is someone is normally unhappy in their work because of maybe they're not paid enough, maybe they're not seeing their children enough, maybe they're traveling too far. There's a lot of aspects, but apart from sleeping, your job makes up the majority of your week, So if you're unhappy doing that, it can have a real negative effect on life. And if you can help someone find a role that's going to make them more happy, so maybe reduce that travel, maybe get the money that allows them to be a bit happier or, less of a commitment so they can spend more time with their children, it's really powerful. But on the flip side, when you see it from the other side, when, you're working in organizations, so I've done it for Dunhumby, Royal Bank of Scotland, a bunch of different consultancies. When you see people on the ground struggling because they're working long hours and they're, it's a toil, and then you bring someone in that's been missing from the team or has added to that skill set and taken it up a level, and you can see that vibe in the team now is just really just improved, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know how we coped before you got him in. It's really rewarding to see, so there's both sides. And I love that with recruitment. And it's a similar feeling with agility when you work with teams and you see them struggling, they're really up against it and they're overwhelmed. A lot of the time they're overwhelmed. And you introduce some, practices, get them aligned, get that focus and alignment, get the work visible. And then you see them start to click and you can see the vibe changes around the team and so forth. Brilliant. It's rewarding, man. Yeah. I love it.
Fantastic. I think it's fair to say you've got a particular penchant, is that the right word? for two things I don't know what you do in your personal life, mate, but two kinks in the agile space.
Yeah.
Or in our world. Kanban.
Yeah, definitely.
You're a proper certified, clued up official Kanban trainer. Why that?
It's fun. I was talking to a few people about this. The areas of work I tend to get attracted to, they're really simple to understand, but then bringing them to life can be quite difficult, especially when people overcomplicate things. But you look at the Kanban method, 6 general practices. You deal with those. Pretty much going to be all right. Yeah. 3 change management principles, 3 service management principles. Not too much to think about. Heart of Agile, love that. collaborate, deliver, reflect, and improve.
Yeah.
Amazing. Use that as your guiding principle. Easy. And OKRs, you think about it. What are we trying to achieve? What metrics are going to move when we achieve this? To show us we're on the right. What's the work we need to do to achieve that outcome? How are we going to see that? Really easy to understand stuff. And then the other one, the more recently, Working Genius. Love that. You know what I mean? The massive, massive fan. And the impact. The reason I love that so much, you've got the 6 stages that knowledge work can go through.
So for some people,
yeah,
which we didn't do a very good job on yesterday, to be fair. So we'll take that feedback and we'll learn from it.
Yeah.
You say Working Genius. What is that? Like,
yes.
Before you go into the...
Yeah, of course. Okay, as you see, I get excited with this stuff. So 6 types of Working Genius. It started from the table group. So Patrick Lencioni. Anyone who hasn't heard of Patrick Lencioni, you might be familiar with his work, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And the 6 types of Working Genius, it's a model that helps us look at the individual in work and what are the aspects of the work that brings them joy and fulfillment in their role versus the areas that bring them frustration. And if you look at the model, there's 6 types of Working Genius. There's 6 stages that knowledge work will normally go through. And they are wonder, invention, discernment, galvanization, enablement, and tenacity. And what we tend to find is 2 of those areas will be areas that bring you joy and fulfillment.
Yeah.
2 of them you'll be competent at. And when we say competent, you can do it and you can do this stuff really, really well. You can do it for a long time. But if your job was only those 2, really focus in those 2 areas without any of that joy and fulfillment, you're probably going to burn out over a longer period of time. And then we tend to find there's 2 areas that can bring us frustration. One of the things I see people really struggle with is, but I can't see the areas that bring me frustration. You've got to look at the 6 types of Working Genius as a ranking, not a rating. No one is saying you're terrible at this. No one is saying you're brilliant at this. What we find out is what are the areas that bring you fulfillment and bring you joy. And the reason I love this so much is as, Agile coaches, Scrum masters, product owners, department managers, whatever it is, we're very good at looking at ways of working from, processes, frameworks, and so forth. But we don't really look at the individual as part of the team. And sometimes we don't have that shared language that can help us communicate things in a really good way. So massive, massive fan of the Working Genius. And I think the book was only written about 2020 from memory. So it's not, it's not been out a huge long time. And the workshops I've run with teams, I've seen it be a real game changer.
So I get in contact with you as a potential customer.
Yeah.
What's the journey like? It's like if people are going, oh, that sounds good. Like, what is it? What does...
Yeah. So what I've done in the past is, talk people through the concept, give them an overview. And then I've said, well, let's test it out with you as an individual first. Let's just do it, between you and I. And that's something we can do is from an individual point of view, if you want to understand you. But I think the real power comes in when you do that with a team. So what I do is I'll work with an individual. We'll work out how to get the questionnaire to them. So we go through a questionnaire. That kind of gives us the feedback.
How big's the questionnaire?
I'm not sure from the length of questions, probably 30, 40 questions.
Right.
It takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max. And what we're looking for is gut feel answer, not overthink it and not answer what you think you should say, it's what's there. And when we go through that, then we'll set up another, a debrief saying this is, what is showing for you. And a lot of the time people go, oh yeah, that's definitely me. Yeah. Oh, I never thought about that. And so we have a good conversation. That normally lasts 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes. And then we talk through how it's going to help them with the team. And then we have a look at it and they decide to go forward. And then we talk it through. So intro to the team in what we're going to do, send out the link for the questionnaire. They come back in, we pick the dates, and we go from there.
And what sets it apart from someone out there going, it's just Myers-Briggs?
Or
Myers?
Yeah. So Myers-Briggs,
it's just another
do you know
version
what?
of that.
They're really powerful things. When you look at stuff like insights, you can have the Gallup do the testing, you can do Myers-Briggs, as you say. There's a bunch of different things there. They're very much personality or psychometric testing. And they're great for looking at the individual. I don't think they reflect the individual in work.
Okay. So it's very much work.
This is very much focused on the individual in work within that team environment. And that's where the goal is understanding each other. And, if you do Myers-Briggs, it can help like that, you know what I mean? From the insights, you're a blue and I'm a red, and, communication styles. That's definitely going to help. But understanding the aspects of work that really bring you joy and understanding the aspects that really frustrate you, we can leverage that to reduce attrition.
Yeah.
If we can take away that frustration and increase the joy, bit of fulfillment, people are going to go with that. When we think about hiring into the team, we can have an understanding of what is missing, and so forth. So, there's so much to it. As I said, that common language for the collaboration around the team. When we look at the current meetings that they have in place and where do they fit within the model, a lot of the time I see people want to change what they're currently doing because it no longer makes sense once they have this collective understanding. So, yeah, I think from how is it different? The key driver to that difference is this is about the individual in work. Yeah. The others are not.
Fair enough. What are I suppose a lot of this stuff is as good as what you do afterwards with it.
Exactly.
So you've got the results, you've been through the process. What should's a bit of a loaded word, really, but what could teams do afterwards? Like, how do they go, right, we've done this, we've got this information. Yeah. You're now not here. Yeah. What do we do with it?
Yes. So that's one of the things we want to do towards the end of the workshops. How are we going to take this forward? And if we do these things, what are we going to see? And that's something that they do. But when I've caught up with the teams that I've done it with afterwards, the feedback has tended to be that we've continued using the language, and that's really helped us going forward, and the understanding of each other in bringing people in and trying not to overlook. Look, we've all got to do things that we don't enjoy doing within our work at certain times. But if we can manage ourselves better, now we have that information, we can put practices in place, we can pair up with people, we can time box it, we can do what we want. But what I've tended to find is the feedback that's come from people is that we've continued to use the language and we've continued to use that information to help us go forward. So, yeah, it seems to be, as I said, pretty new. If I'm honest, the teams that I've done it with, it isn't an overly long period of time, but, we're talking months and months, not weeks. And yeah, I've definitely, when I've had catch-ups with people, been very proud of it, and that's why I'm so passionate of it.
Well, the people I know who you've done it with.
Yeah.
And they took a lot from it.
That's one of them. I've done it with a different finance company, and that's, I've had some really strong feedback there, and obviously a current customer, done that with them quite a lot in different areas, and it's landed really, really well, and there's definitely demand to take it further.
What other trends are you seeing at the moment in the agile coaching space? Like, what's on your mind? What you're seeing? What you're like? Oh God, are we still talking about
that? The one that I'm seeing a lot of, and it's in everything, but it's definitely AI. Everyone, we've got to adopt AI, and it's a similar thing where people we've all got to do Scrum. Why? Because they all do it in Silicon Valley, and we have to be cutting edge like them. And I don't get me wrong, AI is amazing. You know what I mean? I think we're just scratching the surface with it in what I'm seeing. However, if your processes and there's underlying dysfunction within there, all you're going to do is either add complexity on top of it or get to what's broken quicker and break quicker. So I think it can help you and it can be amazing. But if you just want to automate what's already broken, you're just going to make a bigger mess. So that's what I'm seeing. It's a similar thing, right? When we've all got to do Scrum and then it surfaces the dysfunction really, really quickly and they go, Scrum don't work here.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to use that argument with AI doesn't work here, but it's going to be a similar thing.
Are you using it to sort of when you're engaging with clients or training or like anything like that?
Not really. I've been learning. I've been learning a bit about it, Coursera.
Yeah.
I'm going through stuff, and the power of it's, really, really good. I think when you look at it as, dare I say it, on Microsoft, a co-pilot, as opposed to it's going to do all my work for me, you're still responsible for the work. It's that human in the loop that's you're accountable for it. So what it comes out with, and I think it's at its infancy in such a way that you could put the same prompt in a couple of times and get two different answers. So you've got to be willing to spend time in there, although it can reduce a lot of that. I think the exciting stuff is the agentic AI. That looks really exciting, and it can execute for you.
Yeah.
But again, be careful about what you ask it to execute, right? So, but yeah, I'm seeing similarities to the flash adoption of we need to be agile, and then everyone thought, well, agile is Scrum, so we all need to do Scrum. Scrum's amazing. I love Scrum. I've seen some really clicking Scrum teams work. However, it's not fit for purpose for everywhere, and understanding what it can do and what it can't do. And I think it's a similar thing that people are looking at the moment.
That's a lovely segue to the next question, I suppose. But obviously, without going in too much into it, you've been working in the defense space for a while.
Yeah.
It doesn't automatically sing agility. What have you learned from working in that space in regard to agile ways of working, etc.?
I mentioned earlier, worked in finance, worked in a few different financial companies, but big bit of experience there, and that's when I started working in change management, and then became a Scrum Master. Not a while after that. I see a lot of similarities between finance and defense, and then heavily regulated, heavily risk averse. When I see that, and I understand why, but I think sometimes with the things that we put in place to protect us can end up hurting us, and it's being willing to challenge that. But that's just how we've always done it. Or you can't do that over there because of X. Being willing to challenge it. I think defense is an exciting one to work in. I've really enjoyed it so far, and I have, I'd like to continue to work in it for a while longer. I think the challenges are brilliant. I really do. But I said, when you think of business agility, you don't always see it on display, but there's a massive opportunity for it to be there. I think that one of the harder things that can be in there is the length of time things can take as they are. Are we willing to challenge that? Are we willing to, test it and go for that? And sometimes it can be very hard, because one of the things I would say, depending in which area of defense you work in, it's going to be very hard to have an actual cross-functional team from, the specialities that you need. But the key values of getting that alignment on the outcomes that you want, getting the work visible that you believe to be true, and then, putting practices in play that we can collaborate and get that shorter, faster feedback and learn early on it, and then pivot when we need to, as opposed to we are married to this, rigid plan of X amount of years.
Yeah.
So what's the outcomes we want to achieve, and what are the, using stuff like evidence-based management to know we're on the right way to get in there.
What else is on your mind?
I'm trying to think.
I know it's a big question to ask after yesterday, to be fair.
Well, as I said, my mind is pretty blank after going through. I might not have shown it, but I've been nervous about this for a while.
About this?
No, the conference.
Oh, right.
This, God, no, yeah.
Oh, you didn't show it. I thought you were the most laid back out of us all.
But no, I have been. You know what I mean? And it plays on my
what?
mind because...
We've done it now, so you can tell. You can be honest.
Honestly, I was worried it would flop.
Yeah.
I was worried people... before we'd started, I was worried, could we attract the caliber of people to give the vibe that we were after, which was not to feel like a corporate stuffy event and just have that blend of a conference about a cool subject with a really nice laid back kind of fun vibe.
Yeah.
We achieved that, but I was nervous, could we achieve it? Then I was nervous, about getting the people to speak at it that could create that as well. Then I was nervous about people buying the ticket. And I suppose we can, full disclosure, it took a while for those tickets to go. But then probably in about the first 9-10 weeks, we had 9-10 tickets sold or whatever, you know what I mean? And then it seemed to get to a critical mass where it flew. And I suppose that's probably because 3 or 4 months out, people know what they're doing. When you're 8-9 months out, people are like, oh, I might go to that. I don't know yet, though. I'll see where I am. So, yeah, maybe a bit of naivety on my behalf, but I was a bit worried on that. And then the actual execution on the day, right? You know what I mean? And when I broke one of the screens at the front at 9:25 when the thing started.
Yeah. And when you move that fucking sofa. I did. For again, if you're listening to this, you don't know what we're on about. We did an event yesterday called the Not Another Agile Conference. So Matt was one of the co-organisers, along with myself and 2 other people. So that's what we're talking about. But I genuinely didn't think you were worried.
I was. Yeah.
I think the ticket thing was interesting because I had like a mini goal because I was going on holiday in September and I wanted the vast majority of them done then. So I didn't have to worry about it. And then pushed it a bit and we did sell the original 80.
Yeah.
And then people were like, is there any more?
Yeah.
I meant to book it ages ago. So it was my fault. I did, let out a few more.
I thought it was brilliant that the demand continued after the supply had, officially gone.
Yeah.
And we were able to cater to it. To be honest with you, we probably could have taken on further, but at some point you had to say, that's right. And I think for the volume of people for the venue.
Someone said something to me really interesting yesterday. I haven't shared it with you yet about the price point.
Okay.
They said, in their words, this event may make others look at their price points.
Wow.
Because of I was the one talking to him, what you folks have managed to achieve at the price point and still be able to give money to charity at the end. Yeah. Like the value for money.
That was something that was really important to me. Not that we're doing this to make money for charity. It was, we are not doing this to make money.
No, we are.
Because if people have thought I'm paying this now and, Matt's going to make a couple of, X and Jack's going to, line this part. No, never the intention. Never, ever. And it hasn't. And the fact that anything that has come over now, we can give to charity, if I'm honest, it's really... So we want to say it's close to my heart because, I've never been in the frontline services. I've never served in the military, but I sponsored a rugby event.
It was your idea for this charity, to be fair.
Yeah, but I sponsored a charity rugby match and it was run by Rock to Recovery. And when I heard the work that they did and spoke to the people afterwards that used their service that took them literally off the edge of a cliff, then it really touched me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So they can have some money now.
Yeah. Where can people reach out, mate? What have you got to plug? What have you got to promote? When's your next Kanban course? We're looking at that camera there.
Kanban courses, I haven't scheduled anything yet, but the demand seems to be coming. So I'll probably look to do something in, if not the tail end of this year, more than likely early in the new year. Working Genius, just get in touch if you want to learn more. We can have a chat, see how it could work for you. If it's you as an individual, if it's you for your team, if it's for the department, the whole organization, get in touch from that point of view. And apart from that, I'm available for birthdays, weddings, and bar mitzvahs.
Cheers, mate. If you like this video, there'll be another one around there with another interesting person, or just me on my own. Feel free to skip that one. Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Cheers, bro.